Coleman Hughes was on fire that day.
Because in the past 10 years, it has become very popular to, in the name of anti-racism, teach a kind of philosophy to our children and in general that says your race is everything.
During an appearance on The View, Coleman was talking about his new book that argues for a colorblind America, only for Sonny to attack him, and it backfired spectacularly.
If I'm being honest with you, because I want to be, believe that you are being used as a pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan of sorts.
That's an ad hominem tactic people use to not address really the important conversations we're having here.
That's why today we're breaking this interview down. So buckle up because you're in for a treat.
First question that I should ask you to do is explain to folks what you mean by this. Arguments for a colorblind America. What do you mean when you say that?
So a lot of people equate colorblindness to I don't see race or to pretending not to see race. I think that's a big mistake. We all see race, right? And we're all capable of being racially biased, so we should all be self-aware to that possibility. My argument is not for that. My argument is that we should try our very best to treat people without regard to race, both in our personal lives and our public policy. Because in the past 10 years, it has become very popular to, in the name of anti-racism, teach a kind of philosophy to our children and in general that says your race is everything. Right? And I think that is the wrong way to fight racism, and that's why I wrote this book at this time.
Coleman's views on race don't follow the usual identity politics script. Instead of it making the centerpiece of every argument, he takes a page out of Martin Luther King's philosophy, believing that people should be judged by their character, not the color of their skin. Pretty straightforward if you ask me, yet somehow controversial for the ladies of The View. But Hughes doesn't stop at just saying it, he applies that principle directly to public policy, and that's where his perspective really shines.
What are some examples of policies that would be better at reducing racial disparities?
So my overall argument is that class, socioeconomics, is a better proxy for disadvantage. We all want to help the disadvantaged, and the question is, how do we identify them, right? The default right now in a lot of areas of policy is to use Black and Hispanic identity as a proxy for disadvantage. And my argument is that you actually get a better picture of who needs help by looking at socioeconomics and income.
When you say that socioeconomics picks out people in a better way than race, when you do look at the socioeconomics, you see the huge disparity between white households and Black households. You see the huge disparity between white households and Hispanic households. So your argument, and I've read your book twice because I wanted to give it a chance, your argument that race has no place in that equation is really fundamentally flawed.
It's safe to say, if Sonny hadn't read his book twice, she probably didn't even make it halfway through. Because if she had, she would have known Coleman is not denying that socioeconomic differences exist. In fact, he fully acknowledges them. What he challenges is the idea that race-based solutions should be the go-to fix for every issue, arguing instead for a class-based approach that aims to help people based on need, not skin color. In simpler terms, he argues that creating policies based solely on race can end up being just as discriminatory as the problems they're meant to solve. On the other hand, if the focus is on the economic class, we lift up more people, including those in minority communities, without reinforcing racial divisions. But as we know, Sonny doesn't understand nuance, and she continued by attacking Coleman's character.
I think the premise is fundamentally flawed. You claim that colorblindness was the goal of the civil rights movement, based upon Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, content of character versus the color of skin. Bernice, Dr. King's daughter, points out that 4 years after giving that speech, actually, Dr. King also said this: a society that has done something special against the Negro for hundreds of years must now do something special for Negroes. Your argument for colorblindness, I think, is something that the right has co-opted. And so many in the Black community, if I'm being honest with you, because I want to be, believe that you are being used as a pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan of sorts.
He's not a Republican.
So how do you...
He's never voted for a Republican.
You've said that you're a conservative.
No.
No, you did. You actually said that in the podcast that you did 2 weeks ago.
I said I was a conservative.
Yes, you did. So, but my question to you is, how do you respond to those critics.
Okay,
that
let's give him answer. Yes.
It's funny that the other ladies have to tell Sunny to just let the guy answer because the show isn't about her asking lengthy questions. And notice how she added a mountain of loaded statements in her question, which were either wildly off base or just in poor taste. Even if he was a conservative, so what? Since when does someone's political beliefs instantly disqualify their ideas? Whatever happened to healthy debate and exchanging perspectives to move society forward? If you think about it, Coleman's book argues against this exact type of mentality if we broaden his ideas just a little bit. Obviously, Hughes wasn't going to let these comments slide. Now let's just say he exposed Sunny like never before.
I think it's very important. The quote that you just pointed out about doing something special for the Negro. That's from the book Why We Can't Wait that I just mentioned.
Yes.
A couple paragraphs later, he lays out exactly what that something special was,
Yes.
and it was the Bill of Rights for the Disadvantaged, a broad class-based policy.
He also says
okay?
you must include race.
No, he didn't. He says it's
Yes,
a...
he does.
Okay, well, everyone should go read the book Why We Can't Wait. Let's not get sidetracked by that. And he said, yes, we should address racial inequality. Yes, we should address the legacy of slavery. But the way to do that is on the basis of class. And that will disproportionately target blacks and Hispanics because they're disproportionately poor, but it will be doing so in a way that also helps the white poor, in a way that addresses poverty.
While it's true that MLK made a case for reparations in Why We Can't Wait, his vision wasn't narrowly focused and followed up with a proposition that was not a solution that benefited only black people, but rather a Bill of Rights for the disadvantages of all races. In a sense, it's a socialist stance with a class-based approach. But what Sunny did here is truly pathetic. First, she attacked Coleman by putting words in his mouth, then took MLK out of context just to push her narrative. It's a dishonest gotcha attempt just because the guest thinks differently than her. But Hughes didn't stop there, as he went on to expose her tactics, saying this.
I don't think I've been co-opted by anyone. I've only voted twice, both for Democrats. Although I'm an independent, I would vote for a Republican, probably a non-Trump Republican if they were compelling. I don't think there's any evidence I've been co-opted by anyone, and I think that that's an ad hominem tactic people use to not address really the important conversations we're having here. And I think it's better, and it would be better for everyone if we stuck to the topics rather than make it about me with no evidence that I've been co-opted.
I want to give you the opportunity to respond to the,
I appreciate
the criticism.
I appreciate it. There's no evidence that I've been co-opted by anyone. I have an independent podcast. I work for CNN as an analyst. I write for the Free Press. I'm independent in all of these endeavors, and no one is paying me to say what I'm saying.
And just like that, they cut to a commercial break because Coleman was on a hot run. But what really stood out was Sunny's legendary backpedal. She started off saying, "I'll ask my question." And once her entire arguments were dismantled, she shifted to, "Well, that's what your critics are saying." That's the oldest trick in the book. Pin your own views on some anonymous critics so you don't have to own them when they fall apart. Good thing Hughes didn't let it slide. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the story, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.